Hi, my name is Valerie Osemwenkhae. I'm a senior here at Spalding High School. The schools that I've attended up to this point are, first I went to a academy when I was younger, Choice Academy. Then I went to Canby Lane Elementary School. Then I transferred and came here in the third grade. I went to Jordan Hill. Then I went to Kennedy Road Middle School. And then now I'm here at Spalding High School. My extracurricular activities, involvements, and awards would include running track, being a part of the dance team, and just being a part of HOSA, Beta Club, and different honor societies. Those would be my extracurriculars. And I'm also part of an academic club and a debate club. So my extracurriculars are really varied. My awards would include, getting awards in track, placing at regional competitions and everything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. My community service, the community service I've been involved in really dealt with helping disadvantaged communities, food, giving out food to the homeless, giving out food at church, helping build homes during the hurricane situation, being involved in the community in that way. I've been involved in Griffin, in McDonough, and also where I used to live in Decatur. So my community efforts have been kind of all over the place, but I really enjoy doing it. An experience in my educational career that has been really impactful to me was the different AP classes that I decided to take throughout high school, and just like side tutoring from my parents and just other different tutors I've had over the years. I was able to discover my love for science through AP biology. In a final project, my teacher suggested that I do CRISPR as just a random project. He just threw it out there. But whenever I started working on the project, I kind of fell in love with the whole topic of genetics and everything. And it's really motivated me to go into something to do with genetics or the brain in the future. In my college or career, I'd love to go into some sort of neuroscience, some sort of genetic kind of study in any way or form, but also looking at art and culture and just the way it intersects with the way people think and understand the world around them. There's so many things you can learn from the way people process information, the way people's brain, the chemical makeup of the brain, and there's just so much that goes into just making a simple decision. So moving forward in my collegiate efforts, I just want to go into that kind of stuff. I would say to my younger self, or my younger sibling, that just kind of put everything aside and just really hone in on what you want to do. Like, take the time to learn yourself, take your time to appreciate yourself, appreciate the time that you do have, and just really just put yourself in everything and anything out there. Don't deprive yourself of any type of opportunity, any type of event because you think you're not good enough, you think that you'll not be successful enough, you just think that you're just gonna flat out be bad at it. At least attempt it. And also to always go out and find information. Just look it up. If you don't know, ask a question, because there's a lot of things that I could have learned and I could have understood better if I just took the steps to ask that question and start that conversation. And lastly, it would be to not be afraid to speak out, because over the years of going to Spalding High School, I've become more outspoken and more comfortable with starting the tough conversations and the heated debates we might have about politics, religion, sex, gender, all these different things. Whenever we have those type of conversations in class, I'm usually the person to start it off. And I just would like to tell my younger self to do that. But earlier, because there's just so much there's so many things you can learn from being the first person to talk. And there's so many things that you can hear because you decided to start this off. You decided to start a conversation. So you're able to not just understand people better, but also understand yourself as well. I would like to tell myself when I'm older to take a deep breath, because even me sitting here, I still get really critical about myself and my decisions and everything. And it's to a point where other people from the outside looking in, it's oh, she knows what she's doing, everything, she's so put together, whereas I'm a mental mess or anything like that. So I would tell my older self to take a deep breath. It will all be okay. And just remember, it will all be okay. And just remember to keep doing things for you, not because of anybody else, not because you want to please so-and-so. Do it for yourself, because at the end of the day, you die alone. An inspirational vote or quote or verse that's inspirational to me would be something my grandmother has always told me. You know, she's always told me, just keep your head up and let there be God. And there's just so many different ways to approach, you know, religion and the idea of God and just the idea of a higher being. But to know that you can't control everything. All you can do is control what you have within your reach. And that's something that's kind of lived with me, and that's something that my grandmother has always told me. Just worry about what you can do right now. Something my grandma would say is, she would call me Ovasabi, and that just means someone who wants to do everything. She would tell me that so often. I was just like, okay, so what does this mean? Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And she just was like, you know what? You just need to relax. Just relax. And that's something that's kind of like, I've kind of just internalized that, just to relax. To remember that, yes, I can go after all things I want to go after, but to calm down and realize, you know, you can't control everything. Even though you're doing everything, you can't control the outcome of them all. To someone that is doubting themselves or doesn't feel good enough and just needs words of encouragement, I would say take the time to just sit down and write. For me, seeing it being put down on paper helps it seem less like this big, huge task. Writing it down and kind of reducing it to just words on a sheet of paper helps me kind of just realize, okay, it's not that deep, it's not that serious. So then I can start like actually working towards it. Like whenever I procrastinate or feel overwhelmed at school or feel overwhelmed at home, I just sit down and just begin to write. Just write out my thoughts, write out my feelings, because you always need an outlet. So if you ever feel like you doubt yourself or ever feel like you don't feel like you're doing enough, you don't feel like you're working hard enough, you don't feel like you're doing everything that you want to do, remember that you're only able to do what you know about in that moment. So you can't beat yourself up for the things that you never knew about, because you never knew. That's something that's always like something I do myself. I doubt myself all the time. I kind of, you know, I'm very self-critical because I'm like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I simply didn't know. And I can't blame myself for not knowing. All I can do is move forward and try to gain that information so I do know for whenever the next time I have this opportunity, I'll be well prepared for it. Some adversity that I've encountered would be dealing with that I'm a minority in a minority. So here at Spalding High School, there's not many Nigerians here in Spalding County, there aren't many Nigerians that I do know of that live here. So having to, you know, kind of navigate in that, but also whenever I'm not here at school or not in Griffin or not in Spalding County, among my own cultural group in Nigeria, I am also a minority. I'm Edo. You may hear about Yoruba people, Hausa people, Igbo people, and Fulani and all these other tribes and all these other cultures. But when it comes to Bini people or people who are Edo, because there's a lot of different tribes and like all these different language groups, you won't really hear, like the language is already, you know, kind of a small language. It only has like about 1 million speakers to 3 million speakers worldwide, compared to English that has over 200 million speakers, and there's just so many other people that can also hear you and understand you, whereas in my native language, that's not possible. So even within a room of Nigerians, the people who are able to understand me, it's still so little compared to everybody else who's speaking Yoruba or Igbo or these big languages that you hear about most of the time are usually the people that you will meet. If you hear they're from Nigeria, you would meet a Yoruba person over an Edo person. So understanding that really was one of my biggest adversities here in Spalding County. But the way I overcame that was to enrich myself with that information so much more. If I constantly put myself in situations where I'm exposed to people of my culture, of my language, and absorb that kind of stuff, it kind of helps balance out the lack of it in my day-to-day life. So where I would be in school with people who don't necessarily hold the same culture as me, I would make sure to tell my mom, you know, whenever this is happening, whenever that is happening, take me along so I can be around these people who are also in my culture, so I can see the beauty of that and be around people who I can communicate with clearly in that way as well. So it kind of keeps me grounded to understand that, yeah, I'm in a place where I don't see a lot of myself at, but I know there's a place where I can see a lot of myself at, and I can feel at home, I can feel comfortable, so I can face the situations I have to face whenever I'm not at my, you know, safe place. The only thing that I have left to say to like the rest of the young minds in the community is to never feel afraid. Whenever I started here at Spalding High School, I was kind of taken aback by the people, like being in a place where, going from a school system where everybody looks like you to where you're the only one of you in your classes is kind of scary. It's like, dang, do I deserve to be here? Do I deserve to sit in these seats? Do I deserve to, raise my hand and start these conversations? But you do deserve it. This is you. You have a place in these classes. You are not there you're not there by fluke. You're not there because you're, just somebody who has to be there to make everything, run smoother. You're there because you deserve to be there. And that's something that I've learned as, a student in Spalding County High School. And it's not Spalding County High School, but Spalding County, is that you have a place. You belong somewhere. It may take you a while to find it, but you will have a place to be able to have these conversations with people where you're able to tell them, I'm interested in this, and not be looked at like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're interested in that, or you don't seem like the type to be interested in this or interested in that. Because you're more than just a face, you're more than just a stereotype, you're more than just what people perceive you are. You are you at your core. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to, go after. So I say just go after it, no matter what. Because I started off in 6th grade wanting to be a neuroscientist. And for a while, I felt like maybe I shouldn't be a neuroscientist. Maybe I should do what the people around me are doing. Maybe I should go after this or go after that. And here I am in the 12th grade coming back to neuroscience regardless. So at the end of the day, go after what you want to go after, because the only person who has to look back on your life is you.